All right. Well, I think we'll start, and people can come aboard as they remember that there's this webinar or something like that, and we'll just we'll go from there. I don't think I see anybody on here who's attended before. This is a revised version of the one I just gave last week. So you guys are the first ones to hear it live. So any feedback you can give me will be appreciated. This focus obviously is on 9 marketing secrets for mental health professionals. We managed justtherapist.com. If you go on there, we do that site for therapists it's a retail site basically. So clients, patients, future clients or patients of yours looking for mental health can go on there and find mental health practitioners like yourself. So that's what we do for the retail side, like we call it. And then we have mentalpros.com for mental health professionals to go to get information on how to help market their business. And it's all under the umbrella of the Goal people and just small biz marketing. That's our name. So it's a little complicated, but not too much. So let's go on here. The key why I want to start with this slide is, I know mental health professionals don't think of themselves as businesses, but in my experience with taking care of mental health professionals and helping them grow their practices, that failure to look at themselves as businesses sometimes is one of the reasons why they don't necessarily succeed as well as they could. I know this is not a business, and there's no mental health practitioners on here for bankruptcy, but a lot of businesses end up closing their doors, and a lot of therapists who try to go the cash-only route, and break free from insurance do run into, problems sometimes because they don't have a coherent plan on how to grow and how to treat their business like a business. So if you're thinking about going down the cash-only avenue, then this seminar is really going to be helpful. And if you're accepting insurance, this seminar will be helpful as well because you'll still get the insurance referrals and have to deal with that. So it kind of works both ways. But the point here, I think, is you also have to look at is your clients are real people. Some of them are business owners, some of them have jobs, et cetera. So they all have real people and real concerns, and so the economy can impact, how well you do. So let's go to the next one. An overview here. I'm not going to read through every one of them because you'll be able to listen in and hear all of them. So you'll, see them there. But first, let me start off a little bit about myself. I've got 20 plus years in PR and marketing inside and outside of, the government and the corporate world, et cetera. So including time at the Food and Drug Administration, where I really got into healthcare and everything associated with the FDA, which is about 80% of the things that happen in this country are FDA regulated, I learned. One thing I want to point out is my why and my purpose, which is basically to use the talents I have to help nice people who want to grow their own practices and businesses and get them the right amount of revenue that makes them happy and not stressed. And the reason why I say right amount of revenue is not every therapist wants to, have $100,000 in whatever billing or something, or $200,000 in billing and work 25, 40, appointments a week or something. Some people want to work a couple of days. Some people want to have an office and, let's say you're in Bethesda and you want an office down in Charlottesville or something like that. You might want to have a practice where one day a month you go there, or a week or something, and you want to build it. So your definition of success is not necessarily my definition or anybody else's definition. So that's kind of a little bit about me. I went to the Air Force Academy there, and I also went to Georgetown University Law, and I've decided that marketing is really where I like to be, and I enjoy doing it. So that's a little bit about my background. This is just a example of justtherapist.com page. Right now, if you go there, I'm helping out one therapist in particular, and the way we set it up is we're setting up a bunch of different landing pages for her. So if you go there right now, you'll see her picture a few times, but as we add other ones, she'll drop down. But there are options of a free one, where there is no picture and then no website, et cetera, and then there's obviously the paid one. Our reach is, pretty substantial. I think we've got, a little bit more now, probably 5,600 likes on Just Therapist on Facebook. And I mentioned in the seminar on social media, et cetera, and now's as good a time as any, I think, because it's not really a secret per se, is it's very hard to grow a mental health practice based on social media. And I would ask you to ask anybody you know on the mental health side if they've ever got any business from their Facebook professional page. Occasionally you might get one, but it's very rare. And I see so many therapists spend so much time putting tweets up, sending out tweets and putting up Facebook posts, etc. And it feels good to do it, and it's a great way to communicate with part of your audience. And I say part because every time you put something on Facebook or you post it there, and about 12% of the people will see each post. So even if you have 5,500 likes, on average we'll get maybe 400 or 500 people will actually see the post. So it is a good tool to have up there to show your clients you're up to speed with things. Our clients, who are premium clients, often select for us to update their Facebook pages. And so twice a day we update their Facebook pages with, self-help type of stuff and other psychology related articles, et cetera. So they have an updated site, and they don't have to worry about it. And then they don't devote their attention to something that doesn't really produce the right yield that it would warrant putting all that effort in. So that's something you'll see. I mean, you can try it, and I'd be welcome if anybody's got a huge amount of business from Facebook. I wouldn't spend, like, we charge basically $14.95 a month to update it twice a day. I wouldn't spend anything more than that a month. I mean, there's services out there where it's charge you a couple $100 a month, et cetera, and it's all a rage. But from our experience, it has not produced the incredible amount of clients that you would think it would. It works for some businesses, particularly retail, consumer businesses, et cetera, and it does help with engagement. But when it comes to mental health, a lot of your clients don't even want to admit necessarily that they like something on there, because they don't want anybody to think that you liked it. They liked it, and then, well, maybe I'm a client of theirs, et cetera. So something to think about. Hope see, I told you you're the first one. Here's the slide again. So let's get on to the next one. The first secret is knowing who your ideal client is and who isn't. And if you look on your right there, you'll see that chart there. You've got clients where they're profitable clients. They pay cash or they pay insurance, whichever one, but you get the revenue from that. Those are pretty good clients. The ideal client are ones that you can refer. They'll refer you to other people. So so you do that, and those types of clients really are who you want. They pay for you. They like what you're doing enough that they'll tell people. Now, obviously, not everybody in the mental health who's a client is going to tell other people, hey, I'm seeing a therapist, et cetera. But there are those who do, and the more you can find those types of people, the better off you are. Now we go down to the bottom quadrants, and you've got the unprofitable client. And those might be somebody where by the time you're done with the paperwork for your insurance or something, you made $5, or something if you're doing your own billing. So that kind of stuff, because you got to factor in your time to do these types of things. Every time you're doing something administrative and not seeing clients, you're losing money. And then you've got the people who, and this happens all the time with therapy, they don't like your results. For some reason or another, it just doesn't work. And then they threaten to tell other people. And I've even had one client, well, I'm going to go on Facebook and complain on your Facebook page. Okay, you just delete the comment, but you obviously don't want those types of people. So how do you find those profitable and customers, so to speak, and clients, and the ones that are going to refer? Is you take a look at your client base. I mean, if you've got 10, 20, 30, 50 clients or whatever like that, or 100, you can look at it and start just analyzing it. Right? Are they mostly women? Are they professional women? Where do they come from, zip code wise? And that kind of stuff. So you can start targeting who your best type of client is, and you can and micro target. the only reason I use Bethesda because I know, there's a lot of medical stuff in, Bethesda. There's a lot of government around DC. I mean, you could target, hey, I'm a therapist for civil service workers, or I'm a therapist for health and human services workers, or department. You can micro target and go, well, look at where my clients are. And the more you are able to identify who your ideal client is, the better you are able to serve them, because you'll start paying attention to what they're going through, and then you'll be better off. It's like me really focusing my efforts on therapists. I know what they're going through. I read everything about it, so I can better help therapists than, I can help auto mechanics, for example. So really spend some time looking at who your ideal client is. The second secret is overcoming blandness. And basically, why are you better than your competition? Because at the moment, when somebody's looking for therapy, let's say they go online and look at one of the sites like our site or et cetera, and you have your price on there. First of all, I recommend you don't put your price on there, because they're just basing the decision right then and there after they get through the picture looking. Because they're going to look at your sites and they're going to look for pictures because they want to see what their therapist is going to look like. Then they just go, well, this is price. Because let's say I'm searching for mental health. I have no idea whether you're good or not. I don't know. And the only way I'm going to discriminate after I get through the picture is a price. And I don't know if that's necessarily always the best idea to put on your site, because people might go through the listings and go, I like this person. This person looks like I can trust him or her. Now let me go to their page or their website, and then I see the price. I go, well, I can't afford that. I'm going to look somewhere else. And they don't know that you're great yet, because they haven't experienced you yet. So the price automatically eliminates a lot of therapists from ever being considered. So that's one thing that you have to factor in. And the other thing is, why are you better than doing nothing or whatever they are doing right now? Why are you going to be able, or how are you going to be able to help them right now in a way that self-help books aren't going to help them, articles, talking to their religious advisor, et cetera. You've got to give them a reason why they're going to be helped by you, now, not tomorrow, whatever, now. But they're looking for help. So why should they go to you, and why are you helpful? And that's where there's a couple of ideas here. I talked a little bit about serving one niche before, but you can offer a free report on your website, which not a lot of people are going to take up an offer on a free report for mental health, where if you ask them for their email address, they're not gonna give it to you. It's very rare. But if you want to offer a free report, 7 mistakes people make with marriage counseling or something like that, you can put that on there, and people click on it and go, wow, this guy or woman knows what she's talking about enough that she's putting something out there, and nobody else is doing that. I talked about the serving the niche thing. A referral program, that doesn't really, impact you. I think it's probably a little outside the box for therapy, but, in other businesses, you refer 5 people, get a free session, et cetera, but it's probably not the best thing for you. And cost, you could do cost as a discriminator if you looked at your competition, looked at all the therapists in your area. Now, I know in New York City there's 6,000, but if you micro target your area around you, for example, you could figure out, well, I can do my service is going to be low cost, and they're not going to get the best therapy. They're going to do a group thing or something like that. So you can drive down costs in a couple of ways. I don't necessarily recommend that, but Walmart has done fairly well with that model and such, and the big warehouse stores like BJ's and Costco. So let's take a look at the next. Oh, yeah, this is just another example, actually, of stepping out and being different. I'm talking about the marriage counseling right here, and I'll just use that example right there. If somebody types in marriage counseling, there's these 3 ads pop up. For example, one of them's our client who has marriage in there, marriage counselor, and the other one has couples counseling. Typically, what you want to try to do is match what people are looking for to what you offer. So if you know a lot of people are looking for marriage counseling or whatever, you can have a marriage counselor. Now, I can tell you our client also has a couples counselor ad. So if somebody puts couples counseling in there, there'll be a couples counselor ad. But either way, it's something different. And I think this let me go to the next one here. Is actually pretty good. We have Philadelphia, and he wants to focus on same-sex premarital counseling because New Jersey is right there, and they allowed same-sex marriages. So he said, hey, I want to focus on same-sex premarital counseling. That's what he wants to do, and so we've done that for him. And in some of the cases, he doesn't even have to pay for an ad. We have ads as well, but in other cases, he doesn't. This is right there on the first page. Didn't have to pay anything for it. So he's micro-targeted that particular area. The other thing is offering continuing and new value, and this is a little bit different. I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but through our software, for example, we can see Groupon deals, for example. And I haven't seen really a Groupon or Living Social deal yet for a therapist, though I've considered it from time to time if somebody was interested in doing that. I think it's a little bit innovative, and we'd go through the process of figuring out whether or not it would be profitable. But you can see here is an example of Living Social deals in the Orlando area. And the cost per lead tells you, all right, how much does it cost to get somebody to try you out, so to speak? Like when you get a new therapy client, how much have you paid to get that therapy client? And if you're not growing enough, you're probably not paying enough to get business. You might have an ad on Psychology Today, for example, and in New York City, there's like 1 out of 6,000. Chance, right, of getting seen with each search, and so you figure out, all right, how much does it cost me to get a new client? And so if it's $100, $125, I like to use with therapy. It's basically the cost of your cost of a new client is that first session. So think about that if you can think about it that way, then you're much better off, and then you have a realistic expectation of what you need to spend to grow your business. You want 100 clients, then figure out you need to spend $12,500 or so at $125 a pop. If you're in New York City, you might spend $20,000, et cetera. But the interesting part of that, once you get that client, you don't have to go get another client, and you're going to walk them through the therapy process. But a lot of times when the therapy process is done, what do you do then? They move on. And that's where you could probably think of some complementary services that you could offer that don't require much extra work on your part, but could enhance the quality of care you give them. And that could be something along the lines of, a 6-month checkup, so to speak, a monthly coaching letter or a newsletter you can do for free, but a monthly specifically coaching session or something along those lines, connecting with other businesses that might complement what you do and getting a referral fee from that. And that's thinking like a business person, a little bit different. But I've got a therapist client we just took on, and what she's trying to focus on is wellness care. So she's going to take care of the mental health side, and then she's partnering with a dietitian and a trainer, a physical fitness trainer. So that is saying, all right, I've got a new client, and now I'm enhancing their quality, and she's getting revenue stream from doing that. So it's something you should, possibly, want to consider, because you spend so much getting a new client. Why do you have to always search for new clients? It's much better if you can keep on offering continuing value to your current clients. This next one is getting the right people to notice your business, and I like this picture for some reason. So let's say you're trying to target I don't know, wine drinkers. Let's say if you're a winery or something like that. If you put an ad in certain spots, that's you're going to get certain types of people going to come for certain types of things, and it might not be what you want. You may say, hey, come to our thing, pay $5, get a free glass of wine, or pay $20, get unlimited wine, or something like that. You might get some people who are just showing up to get drunk. They're not there to purchase the wine. They're not going to be long-term customers or et cetera. They're just people who are coming for a one-time, good deal. So what you need to do is you need to figure out how you can advertise when you're doing it in the right spots. Think about keeping away the people you don't want, and that's barriers. Like, for example, we do a lot of Google AdWords for people, and there are a lot of people, and I'm sure you've gotten a lot of calls, who want free counseling, right? Free therapy, free. And you don't really want those people. So you have to, if you're doing Google AdWords, you have to have negative keywords in there, and you have to emphasize that there's nothing free about what you do. Now, I know you'll do maybe a free 15-minute consult or something like that, but even on your website, et cetera, is saying this is not a free counseling service, because that'll save you a lot of time and energy, But then you start figuring out how, once you've decided the clientele you want to target, that's when you make sure everything around you is that experience. If you're not charging a lot of money, for example, then that's fine. Then don't have an office that you look and go, holy cow, how are they affording this office? I think I'm getting charged too much. Everything you give gives an impression. And if you hold yourself out as a value counselor, hey, I'm not charging you a lot of money compared to my competitors, then make sure that they're getting that whole feeling that you're about that experience. So it's just something to think about. The next thing is having a system for continuing contact with clients and future clients. I mean, the big thing is, people forget who you are, A lot of times, and this is very difficult to do with therapy. I mean, it's very hard for you guys because a lot of people aren't going to come to your site and put in an email address, right, for a free newsletter or whatever, something. They're not going to do that. But you have to think about, once people are clients of yours or they've expressed interest, is you have to communicate with them, especially your current clientele, the current clients. It's not really hard to do it all. And you just, again, keep in contact with them. Remember, if you can capture somebody, and this is a little bit different with you, it takes 6 to 9 contacts to make a buying decision. And if you don't have Google Analytics on your website, you need to have it on there, and we certainly can help you put that on there. Then you'll know, you can see how many people come to your site repeatedly. You won't see who they are, but you'll know that you've had, let's say, 50 unique visitors, and then you might have 25 repeat visits. So you'll know that there's some people are coming to your site multiple times. And so that'll give you an idea that they're not coming to your site just once. They're not just automatically going, I'm thinking about doing therapy and looking for a therapist and going, I'm going to do it right today. A lot of times they're just kicking the tire, and then they're going to come back and make a decision again. So that's where it's important that you have as much as you can content up there that's still up to date and relates to what they're looking for. With your current clients, obviously the newsletter on a regular basis every month or so gets your name out there and allows them to still remember, even if they're not a current client of yours, that you're there and you're in existence. And so when somebody has a need, you're fresh in their mind. I use the example of a mortgage company because I lived in the DC area. I lived in Chantilly area, for those people up there, and I had an office in Tyson's Corner, and there was a mortgage company there, and basically they never communicated with any of their people who got mortgages from at all. I mean, and they missed out on the entire boom of the whole mortgage craze in 2000, the mid 2000s before the crash, and they could have made a lot of money during that time, but they didn't. People were refinancing and buying houses all over the place, but they missed out on it because they never communicated and they weren't fresh in their mind. And when the new offers came out, people went somewhere else. And so I think for a very little amount of money a month, and we can do a newsletter for you as well that's customized, to you. a month, you can communicate with your clients, and you get their permission, and then you send it out. They find it helpful. They're not going to read every one of them, but at least you're communicating with them, which is something not every business or therapist does. Oop, I think I pressed it too. 6 is the wowing them type of thing. We talked about getting a client as the start of your work, right, not the end. And it's, again, a little bit different with therapy, but you have to always make them feel like you're going above and beyond what they would expect. And this is very good if they've come to you from another therapist and that therapist did not treat them well. I've heard of cases of, well, the therapist started talking to me about, it wasn't even my situation. Their notes were wrong, or they didn't really even refresh their notes before they did it. So that doesn't wow them. That unwows them. So the more you can, give that experience to them, like, listen, I'm a little bit different therapist. I'm going to go over a little if I need to on the time thing, like, because they may be at a therapist who says, here's the time, I'm stopping, or something like that. And then there's their impressions of what therapy is based on their experience in the media. So they have expectations of what you're going to be like based on what's going on in the media, the movies, what they read, etc. So there's an expectation for you. And what you need to do is beat that expectation and show them how you're different, you're better. And when they get that and they find out it's not as bad as they thought or something like that, they're more likely to talk to other people about it. And especially if you do something like you offer coaching, for example, then you can say you're a life coach and people will say, hey, my life coach or something is helping. So the important part is to always beat expectations. And the expectation might be that you might wow them by telling them, hey, you're wrong here. And maybe they've never had somebody tell them they are wrong. And you're wowing that way because, I know a lot of executives are not used to being told no, and you might be one of those people, and that might wow that particular person. So there's just a variety of ways of doing that. This is the favorite of everybody. Not every business owner out there. This is not their favorite. This is not the favorite of therapists. Counting the beans, I like to call, and I use jelly beans because they're a little bit more colorful. You have to know how much somebody is worth for your practice, for example. I mean, if I use pizza example, but for us, we don't have to use that. I mean, take a client, and let's say you're charging $100, $100 an hour for that, right? And they come, let's say 10 sessions, that's $1,000. Let's say if they only come for 10 sessions, that's $1,000. So if you spend $125 to make $1,000, you'd probably continue to do that, right? More than likely you would. But it's funny, when you talk to a lot of therapists, they don't do that. That calculation doesn't go on. All they look at is the $100 or $125 it costs to get an average client. Sometimes it'll be higher or lower. In some areas it's higher, like New York City, et cetera, because you're charging more in New York City, for example. So you really have to look at that and go, this is an investment here. I'm going to do this. I understand every $100 investment is not going to produce $1,000. Sometimes it's going to produce nothing. But that on average, when you spend that money, like say $125 or so, you are getting clients. So it's not wasting the money. And that's where you have to start looking at it. It's really a mindset change. Because I see so many therapists out there who get stuck in, I'm paying for good therapy, I'm paying for just therapists. That's all I'm doing. Okay, that's all you're doing? That's great. Insurance referrals are great. Maybe they're working well for you, but chances are they probably aren't. And if you want to grow your practice and grow it to a level where you're comfortable, you really have to spend the money. You just have to. There's no other way around it. Word of mouth works for a small level of business, but it's never quite all you need. And every company out there that even has great word of mouth, like Zappos, et cetera, Amazon, they all advertise, all of them, because they understand that if you want to grow, you got to advertise. A good way to budget that is if you want to grow your business, you really need to spend about 10% of your revenue on marketing. And another way to look at it is if you want to grow your practice to, let's say, $100,000 in a year in billable hours or whatever, or billable bookings, you got to spend $10,000, into marketing. You have to do that. And if you want to just keep it there it is, look at it about 2%. So that's the decision you have to make. The business calculus has to go on. And if you do that and advertise in the right way, you'll be much better off. And that's where I get into this example of cost per thousand advertising, because people don't look at the views, for example, like how many people can actually see it. So, which is more expensive, the $50 for 2,500 views or $700 for 75,000 views? The cost per thousand actually is double for this $50 one. So it's more expensive for you to reach viewers on that one than it is for the other one. But most people won't do that. They'll just go, well, I spent $50 here, $50 there. Okay, well, that's good for you, but you're not really going to get the great return on the investment that you want. So it's just something to think about. And there's a lot of business owners out there, small business owners especially, who never make this calculus. And there's a lot of bigger companies who don't do this. Even though they should, they don't. They'll advertise on, in the newspaper and just put it there, but there's no reason for it. First of all, how many people do you know actually read the newspaper? I mean, I'm one of the few people who read printed newspapers these days, and I've talked to a lot of therapists, a lot of professionals. Most people get their news online now. They don't pick up the New York Times, for example, or the Wall Street Journal, or Florida, USA Today, or something like that. So it's something to think about as you're going along. Is when you do decide to go down that realm of advertising, you really got to look at, are you getting a return on your investment? The eighth secret is tracking your efforts to make sure you're reaching your goals. So you have to know whether or not something's working or not. And one of the best ways is a tracking phone number, for example. Each one of our clients, and I know Psychology Today probably does this as well, we give them a tracking phone number. But we also have different tracking phone numbers for different mediums. So in other words, on our business card, let's say for us, we have a business card that has a phone number on there. That phone number is targeted to us, that when somebody calls from a business card, we already know it was from a business card, because that phone number comes to us. It all gets directed to our main line, but it comes to us and we know it's a business card referral. You can do the same thing if you advertise on Psychology Today, you have a Psychology Today phone number. If you advertise on our site, you'd have a different phone number. Good Therapy, you'd have a different phone number. If you do any print advertising, you have a different phone number. On your business card, you have a phone. They're not that expensive. I mean, our clients, we're going to give them to them for free, but they're really $3 to $5 a month. But you track, and then you start going, well, this really works, or this doesn't work, et cetera. So it's a good way to do things. You can have different web pages. You can copy one of your web pages and have a different landing page, so when you're doing something different, they'll go to that page. Like, for example, if you look at our client in Philadelphia right now, the one we're setting up on Just Therapist, there's 4 or 5 different pictures of her, but each one of those is a different target. There's marriage counseling, there's OCD, there's hoarding, those types of things. And so each one of those pages, the reason why we're setting them up that way is we're actually doing Google AdWords for her. So when somebody is looking for anxiety, let's say anxiety counseling, they're going to go to an anxiety counseling page. There's not going to be talk about marriage on there. There's not going to be talk about hoarding on there. It's just going to be, let's say, anxiety. So we can do that and then target and then give people what they want. You should also spend on 2 to 4 hours a week on marketing, and I talked about this before, for 10% of your budget. If you're not having somebody do it for you, like us, you really need to spend some time on that, growing your practice and thinking about it and looking at your numbers, looking at how much did I spend. And a spreadsheet's good. I mean, you could just have a line that says Psychology Today, a line that says Just Therapist, a line that says Good Therapy, or whatever, and whatever else you're doing. And you put the amount spent, and then you put the number of inquiries, and then you put the number of clients, and then how much, they brought in. It's very difficult to track if you don't have web pages and phone numbers set up, just because most clients will never tell you. They don't remember, I saw you on the internet or something like that, because it really is of low value to them. They don't really care to tell you where they came from. It doesn't help them with their problem. Let's take a look at this, the final one, and I just like this whack-a-mole thing, because I think that's what too many people do is they do whack-a-mole. In other words, they just throw advertising money all over the place and they don't even look at it. And I just want to talk a little bit about what the difference is between marketing and advertising. Advertising, there are a lot of companies that say they do marketing, but they're really doing advertising. They don't sit down and go, where do we want to go? What's our target audience? What's our target client? What's our ideal client? What do we want to do to reach them? What do they look like, and how can we best help them? That kind of stuff. They don't do that. That's what marketing is. It's a structured plan how to reach your goals. And then the advertising is one method to reach potential clients. It's not every method. It's one method. I'm going to get into some bonus secrets here after I tell you a little bit about what we do and what we offer, and then we'll go into some bonus things, just because that's what I want to do. And that way, if people drop off, they won't hear some of the bonuses. The reason why I digressed a little, but why a marketing plan is important is you really want to have an outcome first and a method to get there. You do. I mean, this is no different than somebody coming to you for therapy and going, well, I want to stop biting my nails, or I want to be able to sleep at night, or I don't want to be depressed all the time. And they're coming to you for you to help them develop a method to get there. You're not going to develop it for them, but you're going to help them get there. And once you give that structure to somebody, it's the same thing giving a structure to you as a business with the marketing plan. You don't react as much. You can just respond and go, well, let me take a look at that. Or if we were your marketing people, for example, let me send this to my marketing person, and we'll evaluate whether or not it's something to do or not. I mean, that's pretty much how it works. And I've pretty much walked you through some of the 8-step process, but you can see that in just small biz. So I just want to talk briefly about the seminar offer, and then we'll go back into the secrets. But to do a marketing plan, how you have clients' worksheets, et cetera. Basically we'll use a series of 9 to 10 worksheets and go back and forth with you, and then develop that marketing plan from that. And it's a good size. I'll talk a little bit more about that. The AdWords is one other thing I'll talk about a little bit more, but that's a 15-click pack and a regular membership on our site for a one time of $175, and I'll talk about that. And the reason why I chose 15 is I'll talk to you about that. And then we've got a 15 marketing webinars offer, which basically will walk you through once a month. We do a webinar, and you'll learn about various things if you want to do it on your own. The marketing plan. So it's about 25 page plan, as I said, and it will basically includes a web social media content strategy. So you're going to actually go through, figure out what you want to do, and then actually we're going to develop a strategy to put content on there to make sure that you're portraying the right image that you want to portray to people, and put the right information on there at the right time. And you're going to have that mapped out. We have a blog calendar, for example, if you want to blog, and I think you should, or, we can, certainly do the blogging for you and writing it. But here's a plan of attack, and I've got one for every week of the year. What am I going to blog about? I write a lot, so it doesn't take me too long to write 350 or 400 words. It might take you a little bit long, but either way, you're going to have a strategy to make sure your website is up to date with new content. If you want to do social media, you can do that as well. And the way we typically do is you put it on your blog. We RSS feed into your Facebook and your Twitter, so your blog automatically updates your Facebook page. So you're doing it once. You're helping out your website, and which is really what you want to do. Facebook is great, but you really want to help your website be up to date with content, right? Because the more you do that, the better the search engines are and like you. So we'll help you develop that strategy. There's a PR calendar and strategy, which we'll talk a little bit about back there, to use public relations and the media for free. Pricing analysis compared to your competitors, because around you there are competitors. They're all there. I know you're all therapists, but you're also competing for clients. We'll look at your logo and core message, engagement strategy for your community and natural partners to you, because there are certain businesses that are natural partners to you and that you need to engage with, and they can refer business to you, refer clients, and you don't even have to do anything for that. We talked a little bit about the right marketing budget, but basically we'll take a look at, at you and where you are and where you want to go and what you need to do to get there. A lot of the businesses, the challenge is they know, hey, I want to do $1 million in revenue next year. Okay, well, now I just need to have $100,000 in marketing. Their problem is not they don't know where to go. It's they don't have the resources to get there overnight. So they have to have smaller goals. So it's something that most people find very useful to go through. It's probably it's a little bit probably like therapy or something. People, think it's going to be easy, and through the process, they actually learn a lot about their practice, their business or their practices. They'll do it right now. And right now, I got another client we're helping out developing a new website, and we're doing the marketing plan first. Because what's the sense of having the website without having the plan of how she wants to be perceived in the community? And so she's been in business for a while, but she wants to try a new approach on therapy. So we're running through the marketing plan, and sometimes the marketing plan tells you, you know what, I've got the completely wrong clients I want, or I'm losing money on this, or wow, I really want to do this. There's no competition here, or how can I stand out, or I want to do cash only. I've got one client, she takes one type of insurance, the rest of it's cash. And she had last week, I think 25, 26, appointments, which is the right amount for her. She doesn't want any more than that. So that's what you do with the marketing plan. It's very valuable. I can tell you most people resist it at first, but they're glad they go through it. I learn something every time we do a marketing plan for us every year. Every year we do something, we get the feedback, we analyze as we're going along, and we improve ourselves, and we structure our approach so we're not wasting dollars and effort. That's the marketing plan. Google AdWords, I don't know how familiar some of you are with Google AdWords, but it's a phenomenal way to get clients in the mental health world. It's one of the better ways, which is why even if you didn't do the marketing plan, you still could generate some business through Google AdWords. And it's not easy to do, despite what some people think. You don't just set up ads once and set up a bunch of keywords and just fire and forget. You can do that, but you're going to waste a lot of money on Google AdWords, a lot. We have, for example, negative keywords. Those are words that you don't want to show up when somebody searches. And our list is a couple hundred words long of negative words that you don't want to show up. We know exactly what people are looking for, and I got clients across the country. I can tell you, how many people were looking for couples counseling in the DC area last week, or marriage counseling. Even if they use those search terms, people use a variety of search terms. I had one in Philadelphia. Somebody was searching for an existentialist shrink. That was a search term, or, my marriage is falling apart. That's a search term. And I guarantee you a lot of websites don't have marriages falling apart on their thing because everybody's focused on the SEO part. And I know search engine optimization is something you want to do, and we help you do that if you choose that option. But we found that you need to have both going at the same time. We don't do search engine optimization without AdWords, because AdWords is like the short-term fix. Like you come in, a client comes into you, you offer them some immediate help in one particular area. They go, wow, that works. Now they come and build this long-term relationship with you. It's going to take a long time to help them on their particular issue. But if you can help them with something small at first, you build up that credibility and trust that they're going to continue working with you. Well, Google AdWords is kind of like that quick fix. If you decided, hey, I want to become a client today, and you said, I need to do business today, we could put it on the fast track. But it normally takes a few days to set it up properly, but we could set it up, and by the end of the day, you'd have business. You'd have people inquiring about your business. I can't say if they're going to use you or not, because your price model might not be good. They may not, feel you're right for them. You might not have the right insurance if you're an insurance provider, but I can guarantee you by the end of the day, you'll have clicks on your website or on our page. Guarantee. If you pay for it, you're going to have it. So what somebody will typically do is they'll visit your Just Therapist page if we set that up, customize for you. So if they put a search for couples counseling, they're going to go to a couples counseling page that we set up for you. So it'll just talk about that. Then they're going to do one of three things. They're going to say, it's not right for me. Either it's a bad time, I'm just looking, I'm not ready to act, or whatever. Or if there's a price on there, they may decide the price is not right. They'll either call you or email you right from our website, which is fine. If they call, we can at least track the phone number. If they email from it, we can track that too. We'll know that the email. Or they're going to go to your website. So typically what happens is they'll go to Just Therapist, then they'll go visit your site, then they'll call you or email you, or they'll decide not. So that's pretty much what it works. We found that on average it's about 15 clicks, on ads, for example, on Google AdWords for a client. Now sometimes it's higher, sometimes that's lower. So, it's just an average, but you have to spend that. So for those people who don't want to do an average monthly fee with us, a standard fee, we've set this program up so people can kick the tires. So normally after the $50 setup, it's $125 per 15. And I tell people before you commit to it, really in your mind, commit to 4 purchases, so to speak. You can't just do something one week. Just can't. Now you can try, but I tell them mentally, it's too variable. 15 is the average, but you have to have a larger number for the average to work out. And we had one client who she got 2 in her first week, and which was double. She got 2 clients in the first week, and so she did it the second week, and she didn't get any. So then she stopped. So she basically made money because these clients, if they do 10 sessions, and I think she was charging $80 an hour or something like that, let's say $800 she spent. So she perceived, the projected income would be $1,600. She spent $200, and she decided, well, I'm not going to go further than that. You can't help somebody with that. But so if you're going to do this, it's just like therapy. And I know that for somebody to come in and say, well, I just want one therapy session, I expect everything to be solved in one session. That doesn't work. That's just that's not logical. So you need to take that same approach if you're going to go down this Google AdWords thing and say, I'm going to commit to it, 4 or 5 times. Now you don't have to do it every week in a row, but you should say in yourself, is that all right? I'm gonna spend 175 the first week, and I'm gonna spend 125 second week, or second time, that's 300, and then I'm gonna spend another 250. So I'm gonna spend $500. That's what I'm mentally preparing to do. And if you can do that, then you're in a much better situation to have a profitable mental health care practice. So it's important to do. Don't just do it once. If you're just going to do it once, don't waste your time. Don't waste my time. Don't do it. And I'll say that with any type of advertising. If you're only going to do an advertisement once, don't do it. It's just luck if it works out. So mentally think about that. And we have some other programs. If you're willing to do it monthly, it's a lot actually more cost effective if you do something monthly. But just think about that. This is the small business marketing tutorials, and it actually is very applicable to therapists. So basically, we'll do a webinar once a month and go over all these different topics here. From email marketing, you're probably not going to do that, but Facebook pages, Google Plus, a lot of that is important, and there's a whole reason why Google Plus is important, and all these other things. The SEO marketing, I know everybody's SEO, and we do that. SEO takes a long time. And we took a client from brand new to the area, from 0 to front page. It took 2 years to get to the front page with SEO, and it's still updating. But she got a lot of clients from the Google AdWords, so it doesn't matter, And now she gets business just from the SEO, even though she advertises, because she understands you got to advertise. If you're in business, You want to bring in revenue, you got to advertise. If you don't, eventually you're going to be beaten, and I don't say beaten, but you're gonna lose clients to other people, and when we talk about some of the PR secrets below, you'll see the value of that. So that's an option. So basically, for a summary, and if you don't want to stick around with the extra secrets, you really got to build your practice methodically, and we'll help you do that. If you want to do it yourself, you've got kind of an idea where you want to go, you can do that. I can tell you it's going to take you a lot longer to get there than it is to us. And every time you're using your time seeing clients, you're losing revenue ultimately. So it's just something to think about. Let's take a look at some of these bonus secrets now, though. The other one is become a perceived expert in the media and the community. You all know enough about mental health, or you should, to be comfortable going out there. And don't be, if you're not a PhD, that's fine, because you see them on the Today Show or Good Morning America, etc. You don't have to be a PhD. You're a mental health professional, so you should feel comfortable being that person when a national story comes out, and the local media typically want to, take a local angle for a story. That why not talk to you? We had a client right before Valentine's Day was called by a reporter doing a story on secondhand wedding rings and what she thought about that and the status of a relationship, etc. So that's the kind of thing you can do, and you get your name there in print, and all of a sudden you can put that article on your wall if you felt like it, or something. I mean, I know a lot of therapists are uncomfortable with that, but you can put it on your website, and then people go, wow, there's credibility here. Look, the media thought highly enough of this person that they've actually reached out and talked to him. So it causes you to be valued more. I put these up here because this is my name. You Google it, and FDA and Lauderdale, and these are all the stories on these two issues down there in Lauderdale on the FDA, a couple of things I worked on. My important point is I feel comfortable talking to the media. I can talk to the media about marketing and public relations. I've been doing it long enough. I've got the experience. I've worked at the President's Wing, and I am comfortable with cameras. I'm comfortable with the media. So if somebody wants to call me and talk to me about media strategy or something, or are they doing it right or wrong, I'm comfortable. And I think you are probably all comfortable as well. So reach out and talk to the media, and we can help you do that. The other secret is get involved in charity and volunteer organizations. I don't see a lot. I mean, I'm in a lot of volunteer organizations around in the community I live in. I don't see a lot of mental health professionals out there. I know what you do is kind of helping out the community as it is, and how stressful it is. And the other thing is, I know sometimes you don't want to run into people, but in places where it's a big enough community, you don't have to run into people, and you'll network with people. Typically on the volunteer organizations, they're the movers and shakers who help out at the higher levels. So you start making contacts and making people aware that you're interested in improving your community. And I only point this out as, because I did publicity for the community band of Brevard. I play the trumpet. So I did that. I'm helping out Brevard Save Our Students here, which in Brevard County in Florida, where I live now. Help them get a half-penny sales tax approved so they can help save some schools, that kind of stuff. So I'm doing that for free. I'm not charging anything because it's the right thing to do, and it's introduced me already to people who I would not have met otherwise. So again, it's really relatively low cost, though you are giving up a little bit of your time to do that. The third secret is develop and test messages constantly. And I think most of you probably set your website up and that's it, And a lot of people set up Google AdWords by themselves and they never adjust it and they spend a lot of money. They don't test things. And if you look at that first sentence, I actually changed the words around. But I bet you some of you just read it in the right way. But actually what I wrote is big mistake if you think matter, words don't. So they do. And you really want to think about that because your messages can affect results. So when we do Google AdWords, we might just switch one line with the next line in order and see a completely different response rate. If you look at our for your seminar invite email, we actually sent out 2 emails. We did a control group first to 10% of the people who are going to get the email. One had one headline and one had the second headline, subject line, sorry. Well, one of them outpulled the other one by 24%. So in that control group, one subject line got a greater opening by 24%. So when we sent it out to the rest, we sent that one out. That increases our open response rate, et cetera. One thing we haven't worked on yet, haven't figured out how to crack, is getting the other 18 people or so who signed up for the seminar and prevented other people from signing up, to actually get on the seminar. So we haven't figured that one out yet. I think the next one we'll do is we'll just open it up wider. But we are considering maybe just putting a $5 registration fee or something in there. I might try that, because at least if you have a little skin in the game, you might get on the seminar, because there were people who wanted to get on and aren't. So we actually might test that. In fact, I think that's what we're going to do, so that we can, test, is it going to affect our results or not? And do you want to give away everything for free? That's a decision you have to make, and you have to test. So I think you should test it when it comes to your practice. I mean, I think if you're thinking about raising your rates, for example, which is why you don't want them on the website necessarily, is you can do 1 out of every 3 people that come in, raise your rates 10%. Just try it. See what happens. Set 1 out of every 3 current clients, tell them you're going to raise your rates, and see what happens. You're not going to lose everybody. We have a software tool that helps us predict, what's the right selling amount, the right price amount, but you're not going to lose everybody. And you may find most people say, sure, I can do that. So you can increase your revenue just by trying that little test out. The other secret is know competition better than they know themselves. And how often do you look at therapists around you and see what their websites are, and how updated they are, and what they look like, and what they're charging, and all that other kind of stuff? Chances are you're probably not doing it as much as you should, and you really need to do that. And when you do a marketing plan with us, we're actually going to walk you through that, on a variety of different factors to see how you compare. And you just have to assume that other therapists are doing the same thing. They're looking at your website saying, well, I like this, I don't like that, etc. So it's really good. Our approach, we're very hypervigilant, to tell you that. Here's, for example, we're talking about with therapy, for example. Somebody types in depression treatment, Phoenix, Arizona. Let's say they type in, and these 3 ads come up. All right, so these people are paying. Well, we want to know, and we have a software tool available where we can see what ads this company has been running. So Recovery for Women, we'll take a look at. So we go in there and we see that here's recoveryforwomen.co. They've been advertising for a few years. Here's what they're spending on their ads. So that they've been doing it for a while. They spend money, and that's important, because we know they're in a category where they're making money. They wouldn't be continuing doing something for 2 years without it pulling for them and working for them. So that tells me, and if I'm in Phoenix, I probably could advertise and get some business that way. So now we look at this. Now we can see what paid keywords they are. So these are what they're paying on. So if people type in a search that has depression treatment in it, so it doesn't mean that they're just typing the keyword depression treatment. They're actually probably going something like, I need depression treatment. So that's actually what the search term is. But they're bidding on all these different search words, these keywords. And if you look, they have 2,851 keywords they're looking for. And our list is as extensive as that. And actually, we have some that goes up to 5,000, 6,000 keywords. But they're looking, and now you can look at their ads. We can even see their top ads. So when we're doing a campaign for a new area, for example, we might look at what the competition's doing and start off with a test ad, where our ad will be fairly close to their top ad. And then we'll start developing our own ads from that. And that's how we go about beating the competition at their own game. And this is just another service available slide. It tells you a little bit more about what we do besides what I talked about earlier. If you want a website review, we can do that, take a look at it, and offer some perspective as to what works and what doesn't for your site based on what we see. A lot of people have the therapy site cookie cutter website. You go on there, I go therapy sites, and it's funny, a lot of therapists gravitate to the same type of template, so it's interesting. Google Analytics, I talked about that. You need to have that on your website and put it on there so you can find out where people are coming from, how long they spend on your site, what pages they go to. I have a whole seminar on that, but one of the key things with Google Analytics will tell you is the bounce rate. A bounce rate is how many people come to one page and leave your site. They don't go anywhere else. They come to your page and gone. And if you have a high bounce rate, unless you're like we're a referral site, so to your site, so we're supposed to have a high bounce rate. We want people to go from our site to your site. But a lot of therapy sites, you really don't want to have a huge bounce rate. So, and I think a lot of you will be surprised when you use analytics that you'll see, wow, people are coming to my site, they're going to my main page and then they're leaving. And they really should go to your main page and then try to book appointment or research. So that's something you want to take a look at. You can website design, do-it-yourself marketing reports. That line got messed up. JustTherapist.com, and we'll be sending out an email with all this stuff, so you can take a look at that. I talked about the Facebook updates, social media updates, that kind of stuff. And that's the seminar offer again, and that's that. So I think we're about done. So what we can do now is, if anybody has any questions, you can just type them in there, and we can answer them for you. This is usually I get a bunch of questions, but I don't have any questions. I wonder if I could. I got that. All right. Does anybody have any questions at all? All right. I'm going to wait 1 minute here, and then I will sign off. I will put a link on here that you can go to, and what you can do. Oh, here's the question: how to contact the media? Say, for example, being able to write in a local newspaper. Well, it basically what you do is we've got a list of media contacts, but what you would do is you go to the paper there in Bethesda. Obviously, Washington Post is a little big, Washington Times, but if you want to do the local paper there in Bethesda, is you actually just look for the editor, and a lot of papers now have what do you call it? Email addresses on articles all the time, but you'd actually just contact the paper and say, hey, I want to speak to the editor, and offer them. Now that's one way if you just want to be able to write for a paper. The other way is, let's say you've got a new group therapy you want to start, a new group you want to start. We put a release together, we put it out to the media, and then you get media to write and put the story in there and that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much one way to do it. And we obviously we do the press releases as well. What I would do is my personal thing is anytime there's something going on in the media that's of interest to mental health, I would, look at something and say, is there something I can do here to attach myself to it and show a local perspective. A press release, I already talked about maybe the group therapy type of thing. You could write this report on marital health or something like that, marital relationships, 7 mistakes for marital health, and then send that. Say, hey, local therapist, Joe Schmo has just written a report on marriages. He's willing to discuss it with you, and be interviewed, et cetera. And so you put that in the press release, you send it out to the media, and then they, hopefully will call you and do a story. And typically, if you can get a story in print, then you'll find the TV media will actually call you, because there's a lot of back and forth with the media, but a lot of television reporters, often we'll look to print sometimes for bigger stories, not the late breaking news, but the other stories, and then you'll see it. Like you can pick up the New York Times or Wall Street Journal in the morning, and you'll see by the end of the day there's TV stories on it. So it's definitely something to to consider. Is just every time you see something on the local media, well, confidentiality. That's where you're going to find. With the social media, this is why people, first of all, they can't tell who likes your page. I mean, you can tell who likes your page, but they can't. But most people don't respond to you in social media. They're not going to because they're concerned. So social media is supposed to be a back and forth, right? And very frequently you're going to find as a therapist is it's one way. You're putting stuff out there, and you'll find a lot of your clients will actually read the stuff. Just won't like it so they'll mention it. So if we update your site, for example, every day, the biggest challenge you have sometimes is, well, you just got to look at it because you can see what's being posted. Because then when a client says, "Hey, I read your article the other day," you're not surprised. So newsletters, I mean, Constant Contact is one way to do it. We can do, a newsletter. I forgot what our price off the top of my head is. I think it's about $49.95 a month. It might be a little cheaper. Is we can do the newsletter for you and just customize it, and we send it to you, and you send it out to your people. I got to check on the price because we might have been lowering the price on that, but I don't know. But I'm off the top of my head, I think it's about that, and that way it goes out, and you can have it go out once a month. So you pretty much just cut and paste it. We send it to you, you cut and paste it. It'll have your stuff on top, your branding, so to speak. And you can even have, if you wanted, 2 or 3 ads in there too. So you could actually partner with some of your, your local natural partners and have them advertise in it and basically pay for your newsletter. So that's one way of doing it. So you just pass on some of the cost. Okay, I think the public talks or trainings, every week, that's a lot. I mean, I think every week might be a little bit more difficult for you to do, but I think once or twice a month or once a month in a different location is certainly useful. It is for us. I mean, our in-person seminars work very well for us. And if you target the audience with the right message, then you've got a very good place to start. And then you could just go around and, I mean, I know somebody was thinking about doing real estate coaching, so to speak. It doesn't want to call it, therapy, but real estate coaching to help the real estate professionals deal with the stress of being salespeople, And so you could do a talk on that. And it's an easy way for them to accept talking to somebody, and so you're doing it as a coach versus a therapist. But then they can always transition, obviously, to the therapy thing. But it's a nice way of making people feel comfortable, talking with you. And then you might find, like I did a seminar once, like you were talking about, for free, and I actually ended up having a reporter there. I didn't know it at the time, but was able to get some, media attention just from doing that. So anytime where you can talk to a bunch of people at once for a relatively low cost, I wouldn't necessarily pass it up. The goal here is to balance everything, so not just do one particular thing, because I mean we do postcards, we do email, we do seminars, we do webinars. We don't do newspaper advertising or magazine advertising because it really just doesn't work, but we do a variety of different things. And then we get feedback. Like this seminar gives me feedback, and then I can go and change some of our print product, for example, and go, all right, people are asking these questions, let me address them. So that's the value of communication, two-way communication. And the Google AdWords, for example, is one way where we get a lot of feedback. I mean, it'll amaze you everything that people search for. It just really is, because we are never not updating our Google AdWords, because people are constantly thinking of new ways to do things and new ways to spell things. For example, counselors, a lot of people spell counselors or counselor with 2 L's, a lot, more than you would even believe. Enough so that we have ads running with Counselor spelled the English way, because I said it was the wrong way, and I was corrected by one therapist who wrote me back and said that's the English way or something. But if you're just using the word counselor on your website with one L and not using two L's, you might be missing out on people because they're searching for two L's. So we have ads. We have ads and stuff where counselor is spelled two different ways in one ad, you know, because you have to do that. People will see what they want to see, but they often find a wrong way of, if they see a wrong spelling, according to them, they get turned off by that. So it's something to take a look at. I'm going to just put up a link here. I'll put it right here right now. I think I can do that, and then I'll put it up afterwards. But you can go to, and there's a little bit about if you want a free listing on justtherapist.com. That part you can look at that. We'll be sending an email out as well, but otherwise, I don't see any more questions. You can always email me at brad@justtherapist.com. And you'll get an email, so don't worry about it. But if you want to send me an email, we'll go from there. All right, I think that's it. No more questions, correct? All right. Well, have a good Saturday, and thanks for attending. I'm going to put that link up here. Okay.